the Radio Troller Entertainment Podcast Channel.
Welcome to Waxy Buildup, a podcast playing the earliest recordings from the 1880s to the late 1920s. I'm Eric Paul Johnson, and this is the first episode of many over the course of this podcast, if this podcast goes on for a long course, covering forgotten giant Cal Stewart. According to the discography of American historical recordings, Cal made 574 records. But you ask somebody today who Cal Stewart is, and they might say he was that used car salesman in California with those wacky commercials. And even those people would be over 50. So only the music historians and the nerds like me know who Cal was, and he was a big freaking deal. He was friends with Mark Twain and Will Rogers. Mark Twain says something really nice about him, but I can't find it. I do an internet search for Mark Twain, Cal Stewart, and all that comes up is stuff about Jon Stewart at the Mark Twain Humor Awards or whatever that is. So you're just going to have to believe me when I read somewhere, sometime, some long while ago, that Mark Twain said something about that Cal Stewart is one of the best storytellers that's out there, or something like that. Most of the recordings that Cal did was under the name Uncle Josh Weathersby. He was a New Englander who lived in the fictional town of Pumpkin Center, and he would give reports about what's going on in the Pumpkin Center. He would comment on things that are going on in the world, newfangled inventions, how Pumpkin Center celebrated certain holidays. His delivery was, well, Dr. Demento once said that these were recorded in the very early days, and they were. So people recording stuff didn't really think to pause to let people laugh at the joke. I say that Cal Stewart talks without punctuation. There's no periods, no exclamation points, no commas, no semicolons, no colons. If there's any kind of punctuation at all, it's when he laughs. He does not stop for anything. The records are like one long sentence. For instance, from 1898, this is what Uncle Josh went through when he went to a department store. This entered the pop charts on June 18, 1998, spent 3 weeks on the chart, and got to number 2.
Uncle Josh Weathersby in a department store. An original Yankee story by Mr. Cal Stewart. Well, Mother told me when I left home to come down to New York that she wanted me to bring home a lot of muslin character and one thing or another. Well, I started out to find one of them department stores, and I was walking along down the sidewalk when some fella throwed a banana peeling on the sidewalk. Well, now I don't think much of a man what throws a banana peeling on the sidewalk, nor I don't think much of a banana peeling that throws a man on the sidewalk either. My foot hit the banana peeling, I went up in the air and come down to Plunkhead. Just as I was picking myself up, a little boy come running across the street and he said, "Oh, Mr. Countryman, won't you please do that again? My mother didn't see you do it." But I found one of them stores. I bought a lot of muslin, calico, and box axle, grease, and a razor, stoppex, new pair of suspenders, and a jackknife, and one thing or another. When I come to pay the fella what I had to pay, he acted kind of suspicious to me. Didn't look like I was going to get any of my money back. I handed him a $10 bill, and he put it in a little basket and hitched it onto a wire. The darn thing commenced to running all over the store. Well, now you bet your boots I lit out right after it. I chased it up one side and down the other. I knocked down 5 or 6 sales ladies and 3 or 4 bargain counters, and somebody commenced to holler and shout. I said, "Yep, that's what I'm after." But I caught up to it. When I did, I was back where it started from.
From May 1898 to November 1921, Cal Stewart had 42 hits on the pop charts. And by comparison, the Rolling Stones have only had 41 top 40 hits in the entire time that they've been in existence, from 1964 to the present. And also by comparison, the Beatles had 47 top 40 hits when they were a group from January 1964 to May 1970, in America anyway. Okay, so the Beatles got all those hits in only 6 years, And it took Cal Stewart, 98, 1921, that would be 20 plus 23 years to get 42 hits. But, the charts in the late 19th and early 20th century were calculated differently than they were in the 1960s and afterwards. Just like you really can't compare the chart action of Taylor Swift or Drake next to the Beatles, because the Beatles didn't have streaming back then to help them get all those big hits. And here's another one of Cal Stewart's big hits. This one spent 2 weeks on the pop chart, got to number 3 in August 1898, and it's about that newfangled invention, the bicycle.
Uncle George Weathersby on the bicycle. An original Yankee story by Mr. Cal Stewart, made for the Columbia Phonograph Company of New York and Paris. Well, it's a long last summer. Reuben Hawkins, that is a Hawkins boy. He came home from college and brought one of them newfangled bicycle machines home with him. Well, I think ever since that time, the whole town of Pumpkin Center has got the bicycle fever. Old Deacon Witherspoon is riding the bicycle to Sunday school, and old Jim Lawson, he couldn't ride one of them because he's got a wooden leg, but he allowed if he could get it hitched up to the mowing machine, he could cut more hay with it than any man in Pumpkin Center. Somebody told me that Silas Cutting-Hill was trying to pick apples with a bicycle. Well, all of our boys and girls are riding bicycles, and nothing would do them, but I must learn how to ride one of them. Well, now, I didn't think very favorably on it, but in order to keep peace in the family, I told him I would learn. Well, I wish you'd have been there when I commenced. I took that machine by the horns and I let it out in the middle of the road, and I got on it sort of unconcerned like, and then I got off sort of unconcerned like. I went up in the air and come down all over that bicycle. I fell on top of it, I fell under it, I fell on both sides of it, I fell between the wheels, I fell in front of the front wheel and behind the hind wheel at the same time. Don't know how I ever done it, but I did. I run my foot through the spoke, put about 150 punctures in a head turns, and steered the horse and buggy clear off the highway. Well, I made more revolutions in a 15-foot circle than any buzzsaw that ever was invented, and I done more different kind of tumbling than any circus performer I ever seen in my life. I lost the lamp, I lost the clamps, I lost my patience, I lost my temper. I broke the handlebars, I broke the sprockets, I broke the third commandment, and the ordinance against loud and abusive language, and I wish you could see me now. I've got more plaster enough on me to start any drugstore in the land. Well, I'm through with it. One's big enough for me. You can all ride your bicycles that want to, but for my part, I just as soon stand up and walk as to sit down and walk. No more bicycles for your Uncle Joyce. Not if he knows it, that your Uncle Joyce thinks they do.
I picked this next one just for the title. I was born in Boston, and I lived there until I was 7. And even though I lived in Phoenix for 38 years, and now I live in Illinois, I'm still a New England person. I love New England. I miss New England. If I could, I would be living in Vermont or New Hampshire right now. So that's why I picked this one. And I'm curious what Cal Stewart had to say about Boston in 1901. Uncle Josh Weathersby on a Trip to Boston spent 2 weeks on the pop chart, got to number 4 in May 1901.
Well, sir, for a long time I've been wanting to come down here to Boston and see you folks, so short time ago had my crops all gathered in, produce sold, little money in my pocket, and allowed be a good time come down. Well, I was riding along on one of them sleeping cars coming here, and along in the night I felt a fella rummaging around under my bed, and I looked out just in time to see him going away with my boots. Well, I knowed the way the train was running, he couldn't get off with them without breaking his neck. In about a half an hour, he brought him back. I guess they didn't fit him. Well, I was sort of glad he took 'em. He had 'em all shined up, slicker than a new tin whistle, while I never was in a town in my life where everybody was so glad to see you, wanted to make you feel at home and be sociable like you do here in Boston. I'm chock full of sociability, too. I've been going up one street and down the other, getting sociability at 10 cents a sociable. Well, I guess I've seen everything you got to see here in Boston. I've seen your new library and your new depot, and I've seen the Bunker Hill Monument, and I've had the doggonest time of riding around in the gears through that new cellar what you got here. Well, the other day I was standing over here by one of your old churches and looking at the cemetery, and I guess there's folks in there been buried nigh on 200 years, while I said, wonder what you'd say if you could wake up and see Boston now. Well, I noticed a row of little tombstones there. On one of them it said, Hester Brown, beloved wife of James Brown. On another it said, Prudence Brown, beloved wife of James Brown. On another it said, Thankful Brown, beloved wife of James Brown. Well, I didn't know what she had to be thankful about, but I said, Jimmy, old boy, you had a lively time while you was in Boston, didn't you? On another tombstone it said, Anna Maria Brown, beloved wife of James Brown. On another it said, Matilda Brown, beloved wife of James Brown. Over in a little corner all to itself, I seen a little insignificant tombstone, and on it it said, James Brown at rest. By gosh, I thought it was about time.
Cal Stewart was born in 1856, and that's as specific as I can find. And he died on December 7th, 1919. So he was born before the Civil War. So he lived at the right time to see the world change from my 21st century perspective, a simple world of simple pleasures into a complicated world of electronics and self-powered cars and other crazy new things that never existed before, well, like this. This is from 1906.
Uncle George Weathersby had a roller skating rink by Mr. Cal Stewart. Well, sure, I used to be right smart on skates when I was a boy down home. Yes, sir, I could outskate any feller on our pond. Well, I got down here to New York and was looking around, and I see the sign what said skate in. Well, I allowed I'd just go in and have a skate. Well, I got on the inside, and the feller handed me something looked like the wheels off a toy wagon nailed onto a board. Well, I strapped them on, allowed I'd show the city folks some capers, and by gosh, I did. First thing I calculated I'd do was a two-step. Well, I done it. 2 steps, that was all. While sure, that floor was smoother than greased lightning. Them little wheels was the most uneasy critters. One foot started northeast and the other started southwest, and I don't know where the rest of me went. I went all over that floor in less than a minute. I done the figure 8, the pigeon wing, the spread eagle, the inside roll, the outside roll, the Philadelphia twist all at once. Then there was a spell that I didn't remember just about what was going. While when I come to and got my think box to work in again, there was a crowd around me. One had ice water, t'other had liniment, and one fella had a bottle with some stuff to smell, and they got me on my feet and told me to try it again. I told them once was enough for me. My ambition for skating was gone, and so was my watch and chain. Well, I got on the outside. The first thing I seen was a fella rolling all over the sidewalk, and I said to a gentleman, "What's the matter with that fella?" He said, "Well, he's got a skate on," and I calculate, by gosh, he had.
Siri, when were roller skates invented?
Roller skates were invented in the 1760s.
All
This
right.
answer is from Britannica.
All right, thank you. Okay, well, apparently Cal Stewart doesn't predate roller skates by at least 100 years. All right, after these commercials, we got a rarity from Cal Stewart. As you've heard, Cal Stewart mostly did comic monologues, but every once in a while he would do a song. One of his earliest hits spent 3 weeks at number 1, and it's 6 weeks on the chart, back in September and October 1898. This is the 1909 version of I'm Old, But I'm Awfully Tough, Laughing Song.
So you boys and gals, what your uncle sing for you, do you? Well, now, where's that bandy boy? Oh, here you be. Now, Frankie, you just play on the melodeon there, and your uncle will sing for you. There was 3 little owls singing in the bar, and dinky-dinky-doo-dum-day, all huddled up together just to keep their bodies warm, dinky-dinky-doo-dum-day. And the song they sang, I will now sing you. It's a song, it begins and it ends too. And a very, very pretty little song it is too. Dinky-dinky-doo-dum-day. There were 3 little mice playing in the bar, and dinky-dinky-doo-dum-day. Though they knew they was doing what was very, very wrong, dinky-dinky-doo-dum-day. For the old mouse said, the little mice beware, when the owls come a-singing too, take care. For the song that they sing, it is nothing but a snare, dinky-dinky-doo-dum-day. Now the 3 little mice thought they'd have a lark, dinky-dinky-doo-dum-day. So they crept out softly just as soon as it was dark, dinky-dinky-doo-dum-day. And the song of the owls sounded so nice, closer and closer crept the 3 little mice, when the owls came and gobbled them up in a trice, dinky-dinky-doo-dum-day. Now the 3 little owls flew back up in the bar, and dinky-dinky-doo-dum-day. And they said, those little mice make us feel so nice and warm, dinky-dinky-doo-dum-day. Then they all commenced to sing, to-wit, to-woo. I don't think much of this song, do you? Well, the only thing about it is it's perfectly true, dinky-dinky-doo-dum-day. I'm a jolly old fellow from way back in New England, where apples and peaches and pumpkins do grow, where the gals, they are handsome, the boys, they are likewise the same. I would have you to know. I came to your city, your sights for to see, the town and the great public square. I came for to ride in your electric streetcars and to wink at your pretty girls there. I'm old, but I'm awfully tough. Oh, but I'm awfully tough. And the girls will you say, Uncle Joshua, you're old, but you're awfully tough. I'm old, but I'm awfully tough. I'm old, but I'm awfully tough.
In a way, Cal Stewart's spoken word records were like Garrison Keillor's News from Lake Wobegon segment on his radio show. Like the Wobegon reports, the Pumpkin Center reports included a regular list of characters. Near the end of this recording, Cal lists off some of the regular characters that were in his records. From 1909, this is Uncle Josh and the Photographer.
Gosh, I went and had my picture taken. Yep, Nancy said she wanted it to hang up with the pictures of or rather 3 husbands, and I told Nancy I want to go to have my picture hung up in any rogues gallery. Well, she went to crying about it, and in order to keep peace in the family, I told her I'd have it took. While I was out in New York, I thought it'd be a good time to have it done. I had my hair cut and my store clothes on, and I looked pretty scrumptious for an old feller. Well, I went up to one of them picture galleries, and a gal showed me into a setting room, and it was just stuck full of pictures. She said the picture man would be ready in a minute, and while I was waiting, I could look at the photographs. Well, gosh, there was a lot of them. Some had wedding clothes on, some of them had uniforms on, and some of them didn't have much of anything on. I guess they was actor folk. One gal, she said, was Miss Rockerbilt in her coming out gown. Well, that was a real handy gown. All she'd had to do was been cough, and she'd have been out. Well, that picture fella come out and asked me how I'd have my picture taken, in a group, full length, or on a bus. And I told him I didn't go on a bus very often, but when I did, I went full length. I asked him how he thought I'd look good in a picture, and he said he thought I'd take a good picture standing behind a tree. Well, he sat me down in a chair and screwed a pitchfork into the back of my head, another in the small of my back, and twisted my head around till my collar was cutting my throat. And then he took my right boot and put it over on my left boot where I had a sore corn, and told me to look pleasant. Well, then he wheeled up that picture machine. I guess he was a little ashamed of himself because he hid his head under a rag while he was doing it. Well, just as he got ready to pull the trigger, a fly got on my nose and I sneezed. He said it'd be all right, and I paid him, and he said he'd send me my pictures by mail, and when they come, gosh, I was a sight. One ear was on top of my head, the other was hanging on my chin, and that fly looked like a mud turtle crawling on my face. And now Nancy gets the album out. She says, this is Ezra Hoskins, and this is Ezra's first wife, and this is Deacon Witherspoon, and this is Jim Lawson, and that's the picture Joshua had taken while he was down to New York. It's plain to be seen he was drinking. Gosh, that feller had me on a bus, sure enough.
And now it's time for the Century Smash Hits segment. These are the songs that entered the pop chart 100 years ago this very week. And only one song entered the pop chart this week, which is why I was able to play so much Cal Stewart. Spending 4 weeks on the chart, getting to number 4, My Best Girl by Isham Jones and his orchestra. Waxy Buildup and Century Smash Hits is a production of Radio Trolla Entertainment, Assorted Deli Meats Amalgamated. If you've got a comment, song request, or suggestion for show topic, leave a voicemail at 623-850-3375 or email it to eloftmpodcast@gmail.com.